Hello everyone, my name is Greg and I dev stuff. In this episode of making Danganronpa-like game, I will explain what this tutorial will be covering and start implementing the editor. First of all, you should check out the node-based behavior editor tutorial I made before. We will use it for dialogues and putting together an easy to use design system for dialogues. You can find the link in the description, or somewhere at the top right, I believe. This tutorial will cover the court case part of Danganronpa games, for the simple reason that visual novel part is extremely easy to do, and if you can follow through this tutorial, you will be able to put together the visual novel part by yourself, using the techniques I teach you in this tutorial. Same can be said for reusing the system for dialogues in any other games. What I want you to understand is that you should not marry certain implementation or design. When you learn something, try to understand how to use them and modify them to suit your objectives and goals. So I will begin from explaining the data structure of our game. What entities it will have and how we are going to store our data. Before committing to making any progress, it is the best practice to map out the game at least in your head, in best case on paper, or in PaintNet, as I do. It doesn't mean that after making a module chart or flowchart and game design document, you can change anything, but having a visual representation of the structure of your game will help you stay on track. At the bottom you can see all of our entities. This is not relevant to entity component system. This is just all types of active parts we have in our game. It can be items or clues, character, arguments, or bullet if you want to be true to original. Then we have camera effect and text effect. This is scriptable objects. We will use the scriptable objects to mark in the editor what effect you want to apply, and then actually applying this effect in the game later on. At the top you have data structure. This is how you store all the data in your game. We will have case class, which will represent the whole court case. It will store all the participants of the case and all the stages. Stage class is the container, which represent one part of the court case. Think like stages in multi-part performance. Stage will have dialogues, arguments, and items. Arguments in Danganronpa are depicted as bullets. If you want to stay true to the original, you can call them that. Then you have dialogue class. It represents one phase of the stage. For example, one character speaks and camera pan over him. This is one dialogue. Sometimes you want to split monologue of one character into multiple dialogues to give better control over the camera or additional effects. This class has the target character, camera effect, and list of text lines. Text lines is the smallest part of the dialogue. This allows you to have better control over how small parts of the text is getting animated. This class will contain text itself, argument shootable, which reference what argument is correct to be used on this text line to progress the story, and text effect. We are going to use and modify our node-based behavior editor. So either use the one you created by following my tutorial, or download and import the Unity package I linked in the description. Mind you that I cleaned the code a little, I accidentally put an enum which we never used, and you need to check for list being not null inside your container, or it can cause null reference and weird error callback. So either implement those fixes yourself or download the latest up-to-date version I put online. After importing assets, create new script called character, argument, item, camera effect, and text effect, and inherit all of them from scriptable object. Add create asset menu attribute. We will populate them with variables later. Open base node script. Inside declare character and camera effect variable. Rename base node into dialog node. Then define class text line. Make it serializable and add public string text and text effect. Back in dialog node, declare the public list text line, and inside the constructor, initiate it. Create new script stage. Inherit from scriptable object. Add create asset attribute. Declare the public list dialog node. Okay, we are done with structuring our data. Now we are going to build the editors for them. We are going to expand our node behavior editor for this. Open behavior editor script. Because dialogue are played in predefined order, we are going to make editor show all the nodes in line-like way. First, let's change container variable to stage type. Don't forget to change it in the object field in the UI. We will have to change the node to dialog node in the code. Then in draw editor, remove ability to drag the nodes by removing GUI drag window from draw node and removing assigning to node rect in the cycle. We are going to build the line out of our nodes to represent the flow of the dialog. To do that, we are going to assign the position of the node based on its index in the list. Store rect into variable and use rect.width as the base for calculation. Plus 10 at the end is offset from the left side of the screen. Remove the link functionality from the editor implementation. Remove next and previous node variable from dialog node. Rename the base node into dialog node. Remove reference part from delete method. Instead of checking for each node connection, just draw the connection between each node in the list. Let's make scroll area size dynamic, so it will resize to fit all the nodes inside of it. Go into onGUI, make node null check for container. To make sure that we are not trying to interact with an empty list, put the check for count more than 0. Inside we have to calculate the size for scroll area. Just assign width of scroll area size based on the position of the last node and its size. Assign something like 400 to height. Let's change the menu name for the editor to Dialog Editor. Good, now if we go into Hours Editor, we will be able to create new nodes. Oh, you can't use right click right now. Move the control out of the more than one check in onGUI. Assign the draw class to the editor. It should look like a line of nodes. Let's remove mouse position from dialog node constructor. We don't need it anymore. Now we will implement the text lines. Let's add capability to add text line. In the behavior editor script, when you click on the existing node, add new menu item called add text line. create new method called addTextLine. Inside, to selected node, add new text-based node. And just in case, let's put null check. Good, now we need to show them in the editor. Let's change text node script. The width will be 200 and height will be 80. Then assign to character and camera effect the value by using editor GUI layout object field method. First parameter is the source of the value, second is the type, and third, does it allow object from the scene. We will not allow object from the scene, so put false in the last parameter. Check for text lines not equals null and cycle through the whole list of lines. Inside we are going to put editor GUI layout separator to make lines a little more separated so it doesn't bunch up too much. Then put GUI layout label to show number of the line. Create button with caption X and remove current text line from the list. Don't forget to add continue to avoid possible conflicts. Encapsulate label and button into horizontal group. Then add text field for text line, text variable, and object field for text effect. Now we need to expand the node to fit all the new GUI elements we added. One line of element is 20 pixels. The separator is around 4 pixels. So just add 64 per iteration to height of the node to fit all the elements. Now if we go into editor, we should see the text lines on our dialog nodes. This will conclude this episode of making Danganronpa-like game tutorial. See you in the next episode.